Hey, Jules Blessed Vegan, and as always, welcome to my channel. And for those of you who are new, I know you can benefit. All right, people, grab some coffee, pull up a comfortable chair. This is a heavy-duty one. I have been struggling, and I want to process it with my JBV community. That's Jules Blessed Vegan, for those of you who do not know. Oh my gosh, and I know some of you, I can already hear, Jules, you can't do anything about your past. Jules, why fret? Just move forward. Jules, you know what? If I can't process here, if I can't allow myself to feel and see where my blocks are coming from, I'm screwed. So I welcome you to stay, but hey, if it's too heavy, or if you got to say peace out, Jules, your content's too weird for me, go ahead. We'll both be okay, honestly. Okay, so when I think about how when there's light, it attracts more bugs, right? Inevitably, you will find bugs wherever there's light. And so for me, when I get closer to wellness, all of a sudden, every compulsive nightmare thought I've ever had comes to mind. And I do label myself as a compulsive overeater because I know the mindset. I know the manipulation with food. I know how I typically respond to life, which from my earliest days has been with food. So if you're a normie, or if that's not your truth, like food is not your poison of choice, you may very well have another. It might be money, it might be sex, it might be, drinking, drugs. I don't know what it is. It may just be a codependent person who's a helicopter parent, or somebody who smothers the people they love. Everybody has something, right, that tends to be a little out of balance. If not, you're probably Jesus, because he's like the only person I know that walked the planet without, catering to sin. But, your truth is yours and this is mine. So anyway, I'm doing a raw reset right now, and everybody is phenomenal. They're all there with like mindsets. They just want health. They want to know the better way. Great team leader, Tanny Raw. I mention her all the time. She's on every health platform as a health advocate, if you will. I think she's phenomenal. But anyway, yeah, so it's just an amazing place to just fully jump in and absorb the better way for living, okay? All right, so my healthy self absolutely is on board. That's the self that totally signed up. That's the self who said, oh yeah, I'm all in. It's my favorite place to be. Okay, then my sick self, which is like, wait a minute, we're really good at relying on food and eating chemicals and partying to food-like products or whatever we need in the moment to get through anything. So who's going to win out in this race, right? Which is so unfortunate. But because, again, it's filled with so much love and light, the bugs are showing up, like, exceptionally. And today is technically day 2, though I participated in day 1, so 3 days in, okay? So all of a sudden, it brought up many things for me. And I think part of it is inevitable. Usually in the summertime, as a teacher, it takes me 4 weeks to get my head out of school and stop having dreams and nightmares and da-da-da. And then I get about 2 weeks of just me time. And then about 3 weeks before school starts again, I get into the whole thing again of dreaming about children and things going wrong in the classroom. It's just this huge process. So I think part of it is just kind of assessing. The other thing is I was kind of considering trying to get a job closer to home, which ultimately I chose not to do. So I'm committed to that 100-mile drive a day again, and all that entails. And then my husband's having surgery coming up, and it's a lot of prep to get ready for that because he won't be working at that time. And so lots of things were coming on, and I kept hearing myself saying, do you know where you're going to, And then I was like, do you like, what life is giving you right now? And then I'm like, wait a second. Are those song lyrics? I've seen funny movies where the person's accidentally living in song lyrics. Well, I grew up, in Hollywood, and music was a gigantic part of my family. And so I'm like, okay, what is that? And then I kind of remembered. I'm like, Diana Ross, theme from Mahogany? Yes. Okay, but the funny thing is, I was only in 3rd grade. But again, like even with Tapestry, I think I was in kindergarten. But because my family was playing these and we were all singing them all the time. Don't even get me started on things like the Partridge Family or the Osmonds or Jackson 5 or any of those. And my husband would laugh because he's about 8 years older than I am. And he'd be like, why do you know this? And I'm like, because I have siblings every single year going up for 12 years, let alone my parents. So anyway, theme from Mahogany, my friends. If you don't know it, don't worry. I'll be sharing it in the description of the video, the lyrics, as well as the beautiful Diana Ross singing it. But the reason it kept coming to mind is because it really is that constant battle between my healthier self and my challenged, sick self. And what was saddening me, and again, I know, can't go back, can't fix it, da-da-da. I wouldn't even want to. My life has been very blessed. And if you followed my channel at all, you know that that blessing has, of course, been from God's grace, but also my willingness to see things as a blessing, because many would not have thought the things I've been through to be a blessing. Okay. All right. But that said, one of the biggest things that stopped me from so many things in my life was my disordered eating. It was so sad, you know, because I've expressed that even as a 3-year-old, I was stealing cookies out of a cookie jar. I was lying about having food or not having food. I was pouting if I didn't get a big piece of birthday cake like the big kids got. I was stealing 6 packs of ice cream from the store at 4 years old, not 4th grade, 4 years old. By 4th grade, it was far worse. I was sitting in recycle bins, binging on food. You know, I mean, it's been a big part of my life. When I was normal weight, and by all accounts, beautiful. When I look back, I'm like, are you kidding me? You thought you were fat and ugly? What? How sad is that? How would your life have been so different had you loved yourself and not ripped up almost every picture that was ever taken of you? And you know, and I think part of it, because in the reset, and I encourage you to no end to do a reset. Start saving your pennies for the next one. Honestly, it's a life changer. And it's because Tiani Raw addresses the whole person. It's a lot like the 12-step program in a way, because she addresses the physical, mental, spiritual, and emotional. And one of the things in the package that you get is kind of not really an inventory, but it's a dear letter to yourself and a dear letter to your past self and your future self. And it's very powerful. But in going there, because I'm trying to allow myself, I realize every time I start getting into food and binging, I'm trying to avoid something in my life. And I've been overwhelmed. You know, yes, we just went through the whole COVID. I realized that I didn't even breathe, you know, for like literally, I think about at least 14 months and if you're a teacher, you'll know, from March 13th, 2020, when they absolutely said, go home, we have to form a plan, everything's closed. And we just went hooey whatty, to coming back, at least in my district, the following April, seeing March 13th, 2020 on the board, coming back the following April and having part kids. So it was face-to-face, but it was only half the class, the other half remained online. And having a couple of months of children. So for 14 months, just holding my breath, you know, doing the best I can, jumping through every hoop, making every single possible assignment, teaching at the same level I did face-to-face, like so many things like that. And I'm proud of myself that I didn't lose myself more in that time. But in transitioning to the face-to-face and the other hybrid and a whole new set of things, I did lose myself. And that was sort of the beginning of getting off my plan and compromising and putting on, you know, 15 very uncomfortable pounds. And so anyway, for some reason today, theme from Mahogany came to mind, and I'm going to explain why it's true for me. If you know it and can relate at all, I would love to know. If you don't, the movie itself is whack. I wouldn't go back and watch the 1975 movie. It was a very confused movie, though Diana Ross was beautiful and had great outfits on, and Billy D. Williams was hot, I'll have to say. But yeah, no, just stay with this. Stay with me, if you will. Okay, so it goes. Do you know where you're going to? Do you like the things that life is showing you? Where are you? Hold on. Where are you going to? Do you know? It's funny. I'm a singer in real life. And if I don't fully sing, which I don't want to because my husband will be like, Julie, how are you punishing your audience this time? Honey, be nice. My voice will break because I'm supposed to have a very loud voice. But yeah, so this is my healthy self asking the nightmare, out of control nightmare, do you know where you're going to? And then, do you like where you're going? While you're binging, while you're sick every day, while you're purging, while you're starving, while you're stealing, while you're lying. I mean, all the things that I've suggested food leads me down. The dark alleys, literally dark alleys. Wanting to buy things in super scary neighborhoods so I won't be seen. Are you kidding me? Oh my gosh. Where are you going to? Do you know? Do you get what you're hoping for? When you look behind you, there's no open door. What are you hoping for? Do you know? Yeah, and that's that part about how I so acutely understand that you can't change your past. And when you turn around, that door is very much closed. I was kind of thinking that today, where it's so interesting. Memory is so interesting because even though it's pliable, and believe me, it changes. I wish it didn't. I have a phenomenal memory, but if people want to argue a point, they're welcome to, because to be fair, depending on where you are in your life, your brain may tangibly change that memory to an extent to match where you are. Which is super interesting in a talk for another day. But I was just thinking, in the moment, though, when you delve into that memory, everything is stagnant, right? The room is the same. The people are the same. The action is the same. What transpired is the same. Like, everything is the same. And yet, if you dared to go back, and I see this on social media all the time because I have a ton of Seal Beachers where I grew up on my page, my Juliana McCants page on Facebook. And they always say, oh my gosh, you know, I wish we were back at Jade Cove Way. Remember in your house when, and oh, Guy, and even cousins. Wouldn't it be great to have a reunion? So sad. I mean, Jade Cove Way doesn't even exist. The street does, but the house is not what our little tiny hearts remember. You know, those memories, praise God, we can take them with us, but we can't go back. Dang it, we cannot go back. And in some ways, I think that protects us, right? I certainly wouldn't want to go back to the abuse. And yet, in growing up, I was paralleled with the blessings and abuse at the same time. They couldn't be separated. And as we know, we can't recognize light but for darkness. We can't recognize happiness but for sorrow. So it's just so interesting. And people, like I said, pause. Get something to drink. I know it's a little deep and crazy, but I want to process it, and thanks for being my people to allow me to do it. So then it goes on to say, once we were standing still in time, chasing the fantasies that filled our minds. You knew how I loved you, but my spirit was free. Laughing at the questions that you once asked of me. Give me another chance. That you once asked of me. It's painful. That's another thing with the COVID. I haven't sang in Mass for over a year. Oh my gosh, I'm getting back there, but I was a choir girl. Okay, so once we were standing still in time, like as a kid, when you're young, there's no consequences. And I was thinking of this today. Today was just a huge day. This all just came flooding to me. And again, it's because I'm daring to try and be healthy and well and get on task. And every threatening, you're not enough, you can't do it, you're too weak, is hitting me like a ton of bricks. And I know that. But I was thinking, you know, in our youth, and certainly in our, you know, early teens and early 20s, it does seem like time is standing still, right? Like when you're a little kid, the clock is ticking. You're constantly waiting for Christmas and your birthday and you're going to be 6. It was so cute. I saw my little niece and all she could say the whole time was, I'm 5. I turned 5. I'm 5. And our grandbaby too. She was like, I'm 5. They were just so excited. And I remember when I turned 5 and I got a pink choo-choo train full of bubble bath and, you know, like they're so excited. And you say you're not 6, you're 6.5 and you're 6 3/4, right? Like, you can't wait. And then finally you get comfortable with being on the planet, right? And you're like 13 or 14 and you're getting a little more chill about things. There's a couple of dates you look forward to. Turning 16, so exciting. 15 if it's your quinceañera. Being so excited for 18 you can vote. There's a couple of them. 21, ha ha, on your first drink. I would love to meet a 21-year-old who never had a drink before that. But anyway, you know, there's a couple of days, but as a child, like every day, right? Waiting till Sunday. My gosh, how long did the weekend take? I mean, geez, from Monday to Sunday as a little kid, it might as well have been a year, like honestly. But even for a little kid, from 1 hour to nap being over, it's forever. So there's that pause and time finally stands still in a little tiny bit of a lull before you start to really become an adult, get married, have children, get on with whatever it is, children, no children, whatever it is, career. And in that lull, you chase every fantasy, right? Everything seems possible. You can travel anywhere. I certainly did. Country after country, state after state. You can, you know, pursue anything, love anyone, da-da-da. Well, for me, unfortunately, as I've suggested, being a compulsive overeater and a food addict is lonely, because you usually isolate while you're eating, but it's also all-encompassing. Like it's a jealous lover. It doesn't want you to have relationships. It doesn't want you. I had binge buddies at times, but it was just kind of misery loves company, and we kind of mutually hung out in our punishment. But anyway, so yeah, everything is possible in my other self who's saying, but hi, we had goals and dreams, and we were going to do this and do that. And I mean, from asking the guy, you know, going out with the guy who asked us out, to choosing to, you know, dare to do this job or that job, like so many things were missed in the confusion of the addiction, which was so awful. And then it says, you know, you can't go back. And the spirit is so free that when my reasonable self would say, do you know where you're going to? Do you like what you're doing? It would be like, blah, 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 right? Gunk, 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 like all the addictions. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. So then it says, again, repeat, do you know where you're going to? Do you like the things that life is showing you? Where are you going to? Do you know? And then finally it gets to it, like the aftermath, which is where I've been many times, in that post-frozen zone of life, right? Where again, I can hide in the chaos of family, children, jobs, etc. And now the slowing down, where the children belong to someone else, the grandkids belong to someone else. You get to enjoy them and give them back at the end of the day, right? The job is in order, and I don't have to think too much about it because I've been doing it for so long, like all of those things. So it says, now looking back at all we planned, we let so many dreams just slip through our hands. Why must we wait so long before we see how sad the answers to those questions can be? Do you know where you're going to? Do you like the things that life is showing you? Where are you going to? Do you know? Yeah. Yes, I'm JulesBlessedVegan. I'm blessed. But, and I don't regret, obviously, what got me to where I am. But there's some deficits, right? Like I can be a wife. I can be a teacher. I can be so many things. But there's things that I'm not, that I'm still called to be. And how am I going to work those in, right? Because no, I'm not completely content with the daily humdrum. And I'm being called to more. But where's the courage? And if I'm in my food, courage or not, I can't act on it. So it just repeats, do you get what you're hoping for? When you look behind you, there's no open door. What are you hoping for? Do you know? Yeah, I'm just clarifying what I'm hoping for. It's amazing to me when people say that they know their passion, right? I would love it for you guys, and nobody ever comments. Thanks. Shout out to Annie Beard. Occasionally to Brenda. Thank you, Brenda. My whisperer. Thank you, whisperer. There's a couple of people. Most people never respond, but if you'll do me a solid, if there's something in the times that I've shared, when you've noticed that I'm more passionate, or you're like, Jules, are you kidding? Your passion is blank. It's so clear. I would love you to share that with me. Because people seem to know their passion. And maybe it's because I love so many things and I tend to be good at many things. But there's something. There's something. My gosh, I'm only at the halfway mark of my life. I have 50 more years to participate. I got to get on. But part of my passion is for Jules Blessed Vegan, right? I love to share with you guys. I love the creativity of it. I love you guys being here for me. But I just want you to know that, yes, my disordered eating has held me back in many ways. I do regret some of the things I didn't act on as a result of engaging in the nonsense, you know, and the temptation and the insecurity and the you're not enoughs that have been hitting my head today as I'm getting closer to being the better version of myself is really unfortunate, but it can't be ignored. So I don't need anyone to say, Jules, just let it go, just ignore it, self-proclaim. I don't need to hear any of that. I don't need to hear any of that. We all have different ways that we work through things. For me, acknowledging something as my truth allows me to work through it and let it go. Deciding to deny it and just say that it's cheap and it's not my thing and what is the deal and shut up about it will never serve me. If it works for you, I'm thrilled. It has never worked for me. I'm one of those who tends to acknowledge the struggle for as long as I need to acknowledge the struggle. And when I let it go, it tends to be forever. But I'm still in this struggle. All right. Thanks, you guys. You're a blessing to me. Like if you like, join us if you haven't. Subscribe. Let me know in the comments below if you can relate at all. If you recognize my passion for something, maybe you can give me clarity. And until we talk again, best of all, know that I feel tremendously blessed. And I'm grateful to no end to be on the planet, to be able to see joy despite the hardships I've had, to have a desire to move forward and to thrive and to better know myself. I'm thrilled for all of it. So please don't think that I'm, not acknowledging that. And I pray that for you, you know that you're blessed.